Hello, families of St. James School. It's Mr. Rossetti here with a couple other updates or questions answered today on Friday. We do have a quick snapper that's going to go out this afternoon. It's going to outline some of these things, going to get you a little more information on a variety of topics, so you can look for that in your email. But in the meantime, I'm here to answer some of the questions that have come up on the survey. So thank you for answering the survey. And again, if you could, if you haven't yet, please do answer that survey so that we have a good idea of who's coming back and what's going on. It's also a ministry expectation. They've asked us to communicate with our families and to kind of get an idea of where everybody's at. So we really appreciate you taking some time to fill that out if you haven't already. But over 100 of you have, which is great. So we're really close to getting just about everybody. So, some questions that have come up, one of which is around special education and students who have been receiving supports in the past and whether or not you will still be receiving support now. And I can tell you that absolutely you will. Students who have an IEP or have been working with Mrs. Jamin or working with Mrs. Trepanier for speech or various other kinds of things with the professionals that we work with in the community, all of those supports are still going to be in place. Some of them may look a little different depending on who we're using and what their comfort zone is in terms of in-person versus Zoom, those sorts of things. So Mrs. Jamin will be communicating with you directly if there are any changes. But yes, students that are returning to school will be receiving the same amount of support that they have come to expect here at St. James School, and we'll be sure to adapt whatever we're doing to be in conformity with the rules. So what that means is somebody like Mrs. Jamin, who is going to be cross-cohorting, is going to have to make sure that she keeps her social distance when working with students. And in the event that she is not able to keep social distancing, then she will wear a mask. And if she's feeling like she will feel more comfortable, if she, to protect herself as well, then she may also wear a shield. So that's one of those face coverings that you'll see. So the mask protects students or others from what's inside of us, and then the shield helps protect us from what's coming out of others. So you're going to see a variety of staff doing different things based on their circumstance and also their comfort. So some teachers may choose to wear a mask all the time because that's what makes them feel comfortable, and so that is absolutely okay, just like we're going to have some students who are doing that. And you will find some teachers wearing a shield and a mask, especially if they're dealing with multiple cohorts in a close way. So that could be French, art, music, special education, any of our cross cohort people, you may see masks being worn by them. Also, to that note, I am investing in some fogging equipment with a solution that has been recommended to us by our advisory group. And so it's called Vital Clean, and it's a safe thing that we can use in between classes or after school to help fog the school down so that we're making sure we're 100% disinfected for students and staff, so that we make sure that everybody's safe. So that's something else that you can look forward to. The hybrid model. Some people are still asking, is that available to us? Isn't it? Again, it has been made very clear to us that we can offer this as a short-term solution, but it is not a long-term solution, which means we can offer it when a child happens to be sick or is exhibiting COVID symptoms and has to stay home. Then we have a DL model that we can use to keep them connected to the class. We can also use it for a short period of time to help students transition into school. So that might be between, say, now and Thanksgiving, somewhere around that timeline to help families transition. If you're thinking beyond that, so longer than the first couple of months of school, 6 weeks or so, then you're looking at signing up at a DL school, and that is something we can help you with, but you'll just want to be aware of that. Okay. How do I deal with the common cold? That's one of the things that have been coming up. So if my child does have COVID symptoms, which are the same as like a cold and flu or those kinds of things, what kind of permissions do I need to get them back into school? How does that work? So basically, in a nutshell, if you or your child or anybody in your household has any kind of a symptom that is connected to COVID, and you can go to the website You can go to our package. You can go to 811 Health. They're going to have a list of the symptoms, and they're pretty much everything. So if you got a symptom, it's probably on there. Then that qualifies you to call 811 and get yourself a COVID test done at our local clinic for that. That's about a 2-3 day turnaround to get that done. So you have to self-isolate during that time. And we at CISKD are asking that if anyone in your household is exhibiting symptoms, that you please stay home while that test is being done. So everybody stays home so that we keep things as safe as possible. So that's the word right now. If that changes, I will let you know. But right now, if anybody in your household has cold or flu symptoms, you're going to get yourself a COVID test. That test is going to come back positive or negative. If it's negative, that is considered your doctor's note. So now you're going to make sure that your child stays home until they're symptom-free. And then you're going to send them to school with that little note that says, yep, you're COVID-free, or the proof of that phone call. The COVID-free. And then that's good. If your child or someone in your household is diagnosed with COVID-19, now you're into a different circumstance, and basically the interior health will take it from there. So they will contact the school, they will contact the individuals who they are concerned may have been within the contact for the contact tracing, which means a class or anything like that will receive a phone call from interior health. All of that will happen from them, and it will happen quickly because they're trying to make sure that things stay contained. So those are the two ways that that's going to happen. You don't need to go out of your way to go to the doctor to, oh my goodness, but you do, if there is illness in your household and they do match with the COVID symptoms, then you do have to go and get that COVID test for yourself or your child, and then let us know that it was negative. Okay, you don't have to let us know if it was positive because Interior Health is going to do that for you. I hope that helps. Uniforms. Been asking, uniforms are hard to get. What are we doing? Don't let it be the thing that gets you hung up. Try and be as close to the uniform as you can be. If you're having a hard time connecting or getting stuff, you can get all the navy blue and white pieces that you need from Walmart, Old Navy, those kinds of sources, wherever you find those things. And then you just need a crested piece that goes with it. So we ask that you not buy white golf shirts or blue golf shirts because we do sell those. So those don't go and get. But if it's a white collared shirt or a white blouse and then the navy blue bits, great. And if you don't have access yet to a crested piece, not a big deal. We'll sort that out within the first month of school. And if you can't get the navy bits in the first month and you're new to the community and you're just having a really hard time, we do sell used pieces at the school, so that may be an option to tide you over, or just try and get as close as you can. So whatever you got, make sure that it's in the spirit of the uniform, and we will work with you until you can get what you need. And usually everybody has that sorted by the end of September. So don't worry, we're not going to send your child home if you're doing your best to get them in uniform, but you just can't get there yet. Break times. Somebody asked, why aren't you separating the break times? How does that work? And all that kind of stuff. So again, if you go through the documents, the ministry is really clear that when students are outside, there is no need to keep them in their cohorts because there is a very, very, very small risk of transmission outdoors. So that's what we're going on. That's the ministry expectation. So it isn't important that kids stagger breaks because we don't have enough kids that it makes a difference. We already split our kids upper and back level playgrounds. So half the population is already split from the other half anyway. And then we are going to encourage, hands-free kind of play where they're not touching each other and doing that stuff. But even if they do, it's the lowest percentile risk of anything going out there. So that's why we're not going to overcomplicate things by switching up break times and staggering things and doing all that kind of stuff. The teachers are going to work together to make sure that, in the hallways while we're transitioning, that the cohorts are being managed so that we don't have overloads in the hallways and out exits. But we've got more than enough exits to make that happen. So I have no doubt that things are going to be able to be safe and we can transition without staggering break times. Should we find out in practice that that's not practical, that it isn't working well, then we'll adjust at that point. But to the beginning, we think we're going to be okay. Drop off, and especially kindergarten. The ask is, are parents going to be able to come inside to drop off at the doors? No. You will not. The goodbyes and stuff will happen outside. However, I believe that Mrs. Rutley and Mrs. Warnell, for the first little while, are going to meet their classes outside, so that way they can tension around leaving and that kind of stuff is diminished because mom and dad are still there. Then they might go to a playground for like top level or back level playground to play for a little bit while the other kids all come into the school. There's going to be a bunch of ways that they're going to make that really easy and friendly for the kindergartners. But yes, no parents will be allowed kind of beyond the office to drop off kids. We're going to ask that all of that happens outside. And if anything changes, again, we'll let you know. Okay. Before and after school supervision, is it happening? Yes. Before and after school supervision is happening. It will be mixed cohort. For the most part, it's going to be outside again, so not a big deal. In the event that they do have to come inside, then we'll sort that out then, where basically they'll have to be social distance between cohorts, and we'll probably use family groups as a bit of a way to keep kids together, because the reality is family cohorts are going to kind of trump in-class cohorts. So depending on who is with us at what time and where we are, we're going to adapt, but we're going to make sure that those things are safe for the kids that are involved, and we'll keep the numbers down so that, again, the risk of transmission is low. Is PE class happening? Yes, it is. Absolutely. All of our classes, so PE, music, art, all those things are going to be happening. Nobody is going to be mixing cohorts when it comes to these things. The only exception might be if we get the choir up and running eventually. But again, with any of those situations, there'll be social distancing put between cohorts. So if we have a group of 5, 6, 7s for music, for example, in the choir, then the 5s will be socially distant from the 6s and 7s, because the 6s and 7s are already a cohort together, and the 5s will be socially distant from them. When it comes time to have sports and that kind of stuff, we'll probably do something similar, where we can have them all in the gym, but we might keep them separate. We're going to work all that out a little bit later. But for now, you can trust that, yes, PE and everything is going to be happening, and that protocols, as outlined in the document, so go ahead and have a read there, will be followed when it comes to equipment and sanitizing and all that kind of stuff. And then masks. People are always wondering about masks. And so, again, just to reiterate, there will be, I've ordered them, they'll be on their way, 2 masks for everyone at St. James School, staff and students. And these will be reusable, washable masks that you can keep. And using them, though, is pretty much going to be a personal choice unless the situation dictates otherwise. And so I've kind of outlined that in depth in the documents. So please go there to have a look at that. In a nutshell, you will see staff who cross cohort will be wearing a mask unless they can maintain social distance. And that's kind of the major thing. And students within cohorts, especially, there's no need for masks, but if you'd like to wear one, you can. And then ultimately, if we're going somewhere where they require a mask, then the St. James School will have their own masks. So that would be like if we're going to the Science Center, let's say, and the Science Center decides, no, you need to have a mask when you're coming to the Science Center, we will have masks that we can wear when we need to go there. And then hot lunch. Lots of people are asking about hot lunch. There's going to be some details about that in today's Quick Snappers. Yes, we are doing the hot lunch program. It will look very similar to what it was pre-COVID, with some additional enhancements to make sure that things are safe when it comes to delivery and all that kind of thing. And we've changed the pricing just in order to keep up with the times. So you're going to find that that's going to be a little bit different. We are not doing a whole year commitment thing anymore. So it is only going to be month to month that you will be able to sign up for it. And the cost will be pretty flat. So we're going to go on a per meal cost, and based on the number of days in the month that there are, that's going to be the cost for that month. So we'll have that all outlined for you nicely. And there will not be a grouping rate any longer. So it is per person, there will be a cost. And we're keeping it really reasonable as we try to do. This isn't a big moneymaker for us. It just allows us to have this great program. We want it to be self-sustaining, basically, is the idea. So look for the details on that in today's Quick Snappers. All right. That's all I have for you today. I may do one more of these before we start for school, or maybe I'll even do one next week, just so that you can say how wonderfully school went and all that kind of stuff. So keep us in your prayers for sure, please, and all educators across BC and all families as we go through this transition, and know that we are going the extra mile to make sure that everything that we have here at St. James School is going to be safe for our students and staff. That our families can rest assured knowing that we have done everything we can to keep you safe. Okay? Okay, God bless and many blessings to all of you. Take care. Bye-bye.